I woke up and I saw John Heyman's tweet. And, of course, the first thing now when you see a John Heyman tweet is you wonder if it's
I checked the spelling, yeah.
So we talked. You made sure the name was correct. So we talked about this yesterday for a couple of minutes. The fact that the San Francisco Giants, had postponed Carlos Correa's press conference, the introductory, hold your jersey up, smile and wave, say all the right things press conference. It was postponed, and you and I talked about it and said, look, this could mean anything.
It's peculiar, though.
But it was concerning.
It's curious.
It's different.
Yeah.
Because it was so late.
You don't see that very often.
So late. So I wake up today, I grab my phone, and I see that I got a tweet notification, and I hit it, and there's John Heyman telling me that Carlos Correa has agreed to a 12-year, $315 million contract, and I'm expecting it to say with the Giants, but instead it says with the Mets.
Yeah, I did a double take. I had to go, blah, blah, blah. What was that? Hold on. Let me see that again.
How did that happen?
I know.
Here's ESPN's Jeff Passan on the deal.
When the medical concern came up during the physical examination, David, there's pause that's put into players' minds at that point. And I think when that pause was put there, we don't have specific details at this point on what the medical concern was, but there is always an alternative. And we have to remember, when these deals are agreed upon, they are pending physical examination. And in the physical examination, clearly something happened that had Carlos Correa wondering, is this the right decision? And ultimately, instead of working out something with San Francisco, perhaps an altered contract, that's when the New York Mets swooped in.
Clearly something happened. So let's tell people what happened, because this is a banana story. From Ken Rosenthal, who is one of the best in the business, in The Athletic today, he caught up with Scott Boras, who is the agent of Correa. And Boras said, quote, "We had a letter of agreement. We gave them a time frame to execute it. They advised us they still had questions." Of course, he's talking about the Giants here. They still wanted to talk to other people, other doctors, go through it. At this point, I will welcome Susan Slusser into the conversation, into the chat, because she tweets out that Boras told her that after the Giants canceled the press conference, they indicated they still wanted to negotiate about Correa, but Boras did not hear anything from them. 12 hours later, the Mets deal got worked out. Let's go back to Boras, who said, quote, "Look, I've given you a reasonable time." This is what he said. He told the Giants, "We need to move forward on this. Give me a time frame. If you're not going to execute, I need to go talk with other teams." And Boras's view, Correa is a healthy player. Quote, "You're talking about a player who has played 8 major league seasons. There are things in his medical record that happened decades ago. Every team has a right to go through things and evaluate things."
Can I stop right there?
Sure.
Decades ago?
Decades ago. According to Boras. Let's remember he's the agent.
Carlos Correa is 28 years old. Decades indicates at least 2.
Listen, he had a knee issue when he was 7.
When he was 8?
When he was playing T-ball. They had to figure it out. They scoped it.
Something popped up on his MRI or his scope when he was 8?
He had a scope at 9. It was a rough
What are we talking about here?
Rough beginning. So Boras says the key thing is we gave the Giants medical reports at the time. They still wanted to sign the player and negotiate with the player. Back to Slusser, who says it sounds as if there was a very old Correa injury. There you go. Pre-MLB.
Very old, yeah.
Pre-MLB that was raised as a potential issue. It has not cropped up again. None of Correa's other physical issues have required medical intervention or ongoing treatment. Rami, what in the world happened?
This does not look good for the San Francisco Giants to me.
Awful.
I mean,
looks awful.
Who knows how or why John Heyman got word that Arson Judge had signed with the San Francisco Giants? But for twice in one offseason, for Giants fans to have the shiny object dangled in front of them only to have it yanked away and taken away forever, that's a rough offseason, man. And the Arson Judge thing, obviously that deal wasn't done, and the Yankees provided something more appealing to Aaron Judge than what the Giants had. This you had done, man. You went and got one of the big fish in the free agent market, and I'm sorry, but there's not really anything that could have shown up on a physical for a guy who just played this year. Right. You know what I mean?
Right.
For a guy who just played this year, I just don't see how something shows up on a physical that stops you in your tracks. And quite honestly, I don't think it was and this is pure speculation on my part here, all right? I don't think it was the physical, man. This reeks to me of the Giants just got cold feet and found a way to get out of this deal. That's how it reads to me, because there were reports that they told Scott Boras, hey, we still want to talk, but we're not comfortable with this number and these physical results. Dude, any renegotiation was still going to be a huge investment in both dollars and years. If you saw something concerning about somebody's back and their medicals, you're just cleaning your hands of it and walking away. You know what I mean? You're not still making a franchise-altering investment in this guy if there was something there. I don't think that's what happened, man. And the Giants do not look good. And Giants fans, understandably, a lot of them are not happy today.
Right. It reeks of 23rd hour change your mind from the ownership. That's what it smells like. That's what it looks like. I don't know if that's what it was. And the Giants came out today and said, we can't discuss medical situations and blah, 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 blah. There was a different opinion about the player and the status and all that kind of stuff. 23rd hour flip. And here's the thing. Look, if 3 years from now, Correa is done physically, then you look back at this and you say, hey, man, the Giants saved themselves, right? But the issue is how they handled it and the timing of all of this. So you walk away from Correa, and if you have honest to goodness, legitimate concern about him physically, then you don't sign him to a 13-year contract. But you lost out on Trey Turner. You lost out on Dansby Swanson. You lost out on Xander Bogaerts. So you lost out on all the other big-name shortstop free agents in the market. You also went through the whole Aaron Judge thing that you mentioned. So you swung and missed on Judge. You had to react and pivot to Correa. Now you walk away in the 23rd hour with this deal. You not only did all of that, but you also made your current shortstop, Brandon Crawford, angry because you went on and signed Correa and said, well, we don't really want you, Brandon, at shortstop anymore. So now you've got to massage the incumbent to make sure that he's okay.
He's going to be playing third for the Mets. Maybe that was the plan.
Maybe that was the plan. But look, I don't know. Crawford's not that good. I mean, he's 35 years old. He fell off a cliff last year at 231. So, either way, you would have to smooth things over with Crawford, but especially now. So it's a very messy offseason for the Giants. And you went in telling, here's the thing. You go into the offseason telling your fans that you want to land one of those big fish, right? You've been talking about it. You pretty much promised your fan base that you're going to deliver a big name. You swung and missed on Judge. Now you move away from Correa. There's nobody to pivot to positionally in the free agent market that's going to make this kind of splash. No. And you lost Rodon.
And while you were apparently finalizing the Carlos Correa deal and getting all the paperwork together, Dansby Swanson, another shortstop, went off the market to the Cubs. So they just completely swing and miss, it looks like, on this free agent market. Did you see the Scott Boras quote to Joel Sherman about how this all went down?
I'll tell you, Boras was running around talking to everybody.
He said, this is Scott Boras' quote to Joel Sherman. He said, Cohen was in Hawaii. This guy loves telling tales. I was up late in San Francisco negotiating with a number of teams. Others went to bed. Steve was having dinner and a martini. I asked if he had 3 olives for a great third baseman. This dude's always got a line.
That's so corny.
I
asked him if he has 3 olives for a good third baseman.
Scott Boras always has a line. The dude's got writers, I'm telling you.
Unbelievable.
You have 3 olives for a third baseman.
This guy. Boras was way too happy to run around today and tell all of the stories.
Oh, for sure.
The Giants look awful.
Because he turned a failed physical into more money and years for his guy somehow. That's crazy.
No, he had a 13-year deal, didn't he, with the Giants? This one's a 12-year deal.
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad. I had the years mixed.
Still a very good deal.
You think?
And unless the Mets doctors are just out of their minds, unless they're bananas, then I mean,
if Carlos Correa is an all-star for the next 5-6 years, this looks really, really bad
awful.
on the Giants.
It's awful.
This looks really bad on the
Giants.
Giants.
You don't want to say it if you're them, but honestly, if you're looking at this, you almost hope, if you're the Giants, you almost hope that he has an injury issue so it doesn't look that bad.
Right.
Again, you don't want to wish injury on anybody, but that's where they're at with this offseason. It's been that bad. Your thoughts, 916-339-1140 is the text line.